Some of you may already know that there is a scandal going on in New York City with New York City politicians, specifically politicians, high-ranking politicians at the mayor's office. And as you guys know, the New York City mayor is the most famous mayor in the United States, right? He's up there. The president is very famous when it comes to politicians. And then we have the New York City mayor, okay? Now, this article I'm going to be reading to you says that scandal that is happening with New York City politicians is tied to Diddy's arrest, all right? Diddy has tapes. We all know, there are these things that Diddy records everything. We saw it with Cassie, and we heard it from Rodney Jones, that Diddy has cameras everywhere. And we've heard that Diddy loved to record freak-offs. But they are celebrities on these tapes, and now they are politicians. And that is tied to the scandal going on in New York City. Let's get to this article. One of Diddy's former employees says they are tapes of politicians at freak-offs and claims rapper learned his bad behavior from music moguls. This whole thing, just when we think we know everything, we don't know the details of everything, but we think, okay, we've kind of gotten a grasp of things that were going on. We learn something else every day. One of Diddy's former employees revealed that the disgraced rap mogul kept tapes of politicians taking part in his infamous freak-off sessions and claimed that his arrest is tied to an alleged corruption scandal currently gripping New York City politics, okay? I know that high executives in New York City or the mayor's office are being investigated by the feds. Why? Bribery and corruption. They were receiving money or assets of high value from foreign countries or foreign governments, and that's a no-no. I don't know how they received that money or assets. One thing I do know, in the United States, you cannot receive money from foreign governments for campaigning. And there's a reason for that. But imagine if a foreign country, China or North Korea, gives you $10 million. Are you really going to do something for the best interest of the New York City residents? Or are you going to do what that foreign government is trying to make you do? Same with the president. Whenever presidents are campaigning, they cannot receive money from foreign governments, because at the end of the day, they will be influenced to do what that foreign government wants than doing things for US citizens, right? So about 5 or 6 executives at the New York City mayor's office are being investigated by the feds, like I said, for receiving money from foreign governments, namely governments like Turkey, China, Israel, South Korea, who else was named? Qatar, and Uzbekistan. I don't know if I pronounced that right. So if you're from that country, please forgive me. I don't know how to pronounce that country. But I'm actually surprised that these 6 countries were in the same group. Like, I wouldn't expect South Korea to be behaving like China. You know what I mean? For the rest of them, I'm not surprised, right? Given the people at the head, the people heading their countries or their leaders or prime ministers, I'm not surprised that they would give out that money. But right now, that is what is being alleged. And there is a formal federal investigation into the mayor himself. And the mayor of New York City is Mayor Eric Adams, right? But there's no way he's not involved. There's no way people below him are getting millions of dollars, allegedly, and he's getting absolutely nothing. You see, for us, Diddy is a superstar, right? Diddy is a billionaire. Diddy is a big fish. But Diddy had bosses. Diddy had people who were paying him. Remember, Diddy was also dealing with Ciroc. And remember, there was a lawsuit Just before Cassie filed her lawsuit, Diddy had sued Ciroc because they were trying to push him out, and they were promoting, people like George Clooney. He felt like there was discrimination and racism. Like they were promoting liquors tied to white celebrities, and they were not promoting liquors tied to him as they were before. As soon as Cassie filed her lawsuit, they countersued, and Diddy dropped his fight because he knew what was inside Cassie's case. He had no time to be fighting with Ciroc, right? Ciroc helped Diddy become a billionaire. And one thing we're learning in this whole thing, that music is not what makes these people billionaires. There are very few people, Taylor Swift for one, who can say she genuinely became a billionaire through music, and mostly through touring, really. Music and streaming and selling albums, it's not making money like that anymore. They go on to say, this former employee says that the indictment, Diddy's indictment, could expose high-profile officials and celebrities in the Big Apple. And the Big Apple is New York City, right? He says this is bigger than Diddy, without naming who the alleged tapes are of. We know this is bigger than Diddy. And we know, so far, we the public don't know if Diddy has spoken or if he's waiting for a deal with the government, the feds, that is. And we don't know which celebrities or politicians have already gone ahead of Diddy and made cut deals with the feds, right? They've probably snitched on Diddy. We don't know. Or Diddy's going to say, if you give me a good deal, give me probation or 5 years in prison, or maybe don't touch my kids. We know one of his kids will end up in prison. What's his name? Justin. Between Justin and Christian, they were also named in one of the civil cases or lawsuits against Diddy. So I see Diddy cutting a deal. Like, okay, if you get me, don't touch my children. Or give me probation or give me 5 years, right? Then I'm going to give you the names of everybody who was involved. Diddy is not the big fish in here. So he spoke out in days after Diddy was indicted in New York City and charged with, what he was charged with, racketeering, trafficking, transportation to engage in prostitution, and now is facing possibly life in prison or decades in prison, right? So Diddy is what? In his 50s, mid-50s, somewhere there. He's not old. He's older, but going to prison for 30 plus years is not good. If you're 20, 30 plus years, you come out at the age Diddy is now. 50? I don't think you'll make it out alive. So this is weighing. This is a lot for Diddy. He might as well give them up, okay? Anyway, so he goes on to say, let me read. Oh, this is Gene Deal. They're talking about Gene Deal. And by the way, this is an article, and I might include some of that. Gene Deal has been speaking a lot, right? And he did work with Diddy. He talked a lot about what Kim Porter went through. I know. Well, I don't want to say I know. I can see, especially in places like New York, the big cities, New York City, Los Angeles, Chicago, Atlanta, those big cities, you have these agencies that disguise themselves as modeling agencies. And once they get those beautiful women in there, basically they start prostituting those women to very wealthy men, executives of company, royalty, Prince Andrew, right? Politicians. So be careful. Be careful when your beautiful daughters are going there, signing up with agencies. Some of them are legit. Some of these are just prostitution rings. Okay? All right. Anyway, so Gene Deal, the former bodyguard to Sean Diddy Combs, revealed the disgraced rapper kept tapes of politicians taking part in these infamous freak-off sessions. And I'm happy that Diddy kept tapes. He was smart, right? It's not right, but when you think about it right now, it's important that he did, because now he needs those tapes. He needs to call on those people in high positions to make this go away in his favor. But there's a problem. We, the people, we know social media is killing the games that these rich people and politicians have been playing for a long time. Because now we, the people, have a voice and we have a lot to say. But anyway, so they say Jean worked with Diddy through the 90s and claimed to have witnessed the mogul turn into a monster. Guys, there is so much. Diddy's mother allegedly was a madame. Before Diddy's father died, she was a madame who hired women as black models, right, in New York, but instead was selling them or saying, you can make money, sleeping with the high people in New York City than you can make money being a model. And imagine, at that time, when Diddy's mother was young in her... Have you seen Diddy's mother? The way she looks, right? She's a very polished woman. And so I believe it, right? But that's another video for another day. She was allegedly a madame. She used to host parties. These things are starting to make sense to me, although they are still alleged things. They're starting to make sense to me because Diddy learned this behavior from somewhere else, but not only from his mother, right? Also from music moguls. The people, Clive Davis, allegedly. What's that guy? The guy, his boss from uptown, apparently Diddy was his side bish, okay? Apparently Diddy moved into his apartment. That's why Diddy was able to do whatever he wanted in uptown. He was a kid, 21 years old. He was acting like he's the big thing. That's another video, guys. There's so much in my mind that I'm learning, I'm researching, that I just feel like giving you everything at one time, but then it will be everywhere. But let's continue. All right, so the charges against Diddy came 6 months after his mansions in Los Angeles and Miami were raided by the federal agents, where officers said they found over 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant allegedly used in the freak-offs. Once again, this can't be all for one man. Impossible. I don't care how much what's that pill men take to get it up? What is it? Oh, I've seen the commercial on TV. I don't know. There's that pill that men take to get it up. The commercial is called like Bob or something. You guys know what I'm talking about. I don't care how many of those pills he take. He can't use 1,000 bottles of baby oil, right? Anyway, so they go on to say the freak-offs would see Diddy, giving women substances to make them lose their heads and forcing them into these marathons of performances with male workers. We heard that from Cassie. That happened to Cassie. We heard Rodney Jones says he witnessed it himself. Sometimes he would have to go secure the girls in booby trap or something like that, a strip club. Whenever the strippers or whatever, the girls, whenever they saw a bad boy, somebody wearing a bad boy hat, they knew money is about to be made, right? Remember Rodney Jones also told, is it Rodney Jones? Am I saying the right name? Little Rod? Yeah, the music producer. I think it is Rodney Jones. Speculation has fallen on alleged tapes of these sessions. However, prosecutors have not commented on them being filmed. Of course, we have to wait for a trial. I don't think if there's ever a trial that we are ever, I don't think cameras will ever be allowed into the courtroom. Now, listen, I don't want to give this away, okay? Because if I found more information, Diddy might walk pretty soon. Diddy might walk by we're in what, 2024? Diddy might walk by the end of 2025 if one of two things happens. That's another video. But you guys have to stay tuned, okay? And there's a very high possibility that he will when only one of these two things happen. Wait for the next video because I have it lined up for you guys. Anyway, so they go on to say, asked if there are any celebrities on the alleged freak-off tapes, Gene Deal responded, Diddy gave celebrity parties. So what do you think? Of course, right? We saw those white parties. We've seen Leonardo DiCaprio. We've seen Shaquille O'Neal. We've seen everybody who's the who and who, especially at the height of his career. We've seen everybody in Hollywood attend those. If you were never invited to Diddy's white party, you are not an A-lister. Now, you may not have attended, but you definitely received an invitation, right? Right. The ones that said no, they feel good. Anyway, remember Cat Williams says the problem is Diddy always wants to party. That's another problem. Anyway, they go on to say, he noted that despite allegations of criminal wrongdoing in lawsuits, including one brought by Diddy's ex-girlfriend, Cassie, prosecutors in California did not bring charges. He's trying to insinuate that these alleged crimes that Diddy is being tried for happened in New York, also happened in California. And he's trying to say, why didn't California bring charges? Why is it that only New York is bringing charges? And he's trying to say, this is because this is tied to the politics or, the corruption or political scandal or political atmosphere in New York. No. These are not state charges against Diddy. These are federal charges, meaning the federal government is bigger and more powerful than the state government. So the federal government covers everything. It's just not New York City. So I don't think he got the understanding of why they are federal and not state, right? I think he missed that. Instead, he says, the charges were brought in New York. He believes this was done because it's linked to the slate of resignations and allegations of corruption among Big Apple officials, right? Like I explained, these are federal, so they cover everything, every state. These women were made to cross state lines. So just because it's going to be tried in New York City or just because it's he's in jail in New York City doesn't mean that the crimes that he's being charged for only pertain to New York City. At least that's my understanding of federal charges. Again, I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a legal expert, so I might be wrong. If you are, please let me know if I'm wrong. He says, people aren't going to tie this together. I don't know about that. The bodyguard implied that Diddy himself was victimized early in his career by other powerful music industry figures and said he blames the ones who trained him and taught him the music business for the crimes Diddy did. I agree. To a certain extent, I agree. I agree that he was groomed, right? And he groomed Asha, allegedly. He allegedly groomed Justin Bieber. We know Justin Bieber is a mess. I need to do a video about the things that Justin Bieber has said in his interviews about this entire thing and why he's a mess. We know the boy is a mess, right? But I don't like how the narrative is taking shape right now, right? Right now, we are seeing a case being built of Justin Bieber being shown as a victim, which he is if these things happen to him, but then trying to make Asha a perpetrator, right? So what I'm saying is, if Justin is a victim when he's underage, then Asha is a victim when he's underage. If Justin partook in anything, in any of these sessions when he was 18 and above, it's either he's a victim and he was groomed, then the same thing should be applied to Asha. If Asha did the same thing when he was above 18, above 21, then Asha is a victim too. But I don't think they're victims. Once you're an adult, you're no longer a victim. So we're not going to say that Justin Bieber is a victim if he took part in these freak-offs when he was 18, 19, 20 and beyond, and then say that Asha is a perpetrator, right? I think after you're an adult, you're no longer, if you are hurting people, you're no longer a victim. Okay? By that time, you should know right from wrong. I know they wanted to make money. I know they wanted to be superstars. I know they felt like they were coerced or whatever the word is. But I just feel like whatever you apply to Justin Bieber, apply to Asha too. Because he was a kid too. All right? Anyway, he says, he was made into a monster because of what happened to him and because of the things he had to do. Again, it's the same thing I'm just saying about Justin, Asha, and Diddy. He's trying to say that people used and taught and groomed Diddy. He's trying to make Diddy a victim. Unless he can be a victim if he was underage, but after he's an adult, no. All right. So that's what I say. If Justin Bieber did anything when he's considered an adult in the United States, he needs to be charged too. If Asha did anything to women, forced people, I'm not talking about having consensual threesomes, sleeping with 10 women that are of age and they want to do it. That's your stuff in your bedroom, right? But if you're forcing people, and if it's anything like the freak-offs we've heard from Diddy, we have to be very careful about these narratives that are being shaped right here. Okay? That's all I'm saying. Because Diddy is not a victim. He may have been, but he's too old to still be a victim. Okay? Anyway, groomed maybe. Victim? I don't know. Anyway. He said, to keep it frank, he was doing to other people what was done to him. That's a learned behavior. I do agree. It's a learned behavior, but it doesn't excuse the things you did to other people. They were heavy into drugs. They were heavy into beating women. Imagine being heavy into violating somebody's body, inflicting pain physically on someone. And that's something you say they were into. That's scary. And honestly, what did you do, Jean? What did you do? You looked the other way, didn't you? Because you needed a paycheck, right? Okay. I'm not going to say allegedly because I saw that for my own self. What did you do when you saw him beating women? What did you do? Diddy's former bodyguard is saying that he witnessed politicians. I don't know how he could have witnessed it because he quit working for Diddy in the 90s, right? And these current politicians, they haven't been around since the 90s. Or is he saying that he knows people back then who participated in these freak-offs that are now politicians? You see that angle? One of them held the highest office in the United States. Right? Anyway, what do you guys think? Do you think we're going to see some politicians on these freak-off tapes? And I'm telling you, if any of the politicians that are on these freak-off tapes ever held the highest office of the land. We will never, ever learn about it. They're not going to tell us. Unless Cassie was forced to have a freak off with one of them and she needs to speak. I don't know. Cassie's life may be in danger. I'm telling you, I hope she has protection, because if she... Guys, I have so much to tell you guys. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, share, subscribe. Until the next video. Bye.